Hello, 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 and welcome to Coffee Time. It's where we go to the Daily Mail website and look at the news. Here we go. We like the weather. Who doesn't like the weather? If you're a Brit, it's what we talk about. Because we live on an island, we get lots of weather all at once. We can get 4 seasons in one day. That'd make a good title for a song, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? But yeah, this is Weather Wars. What? Weather Wars. Yeah, meteorologist Johan Jack is a senior meteorologist at the environmental technology company Kisters. Reckons that there could be weather wars between countries if the use of cloud seeding gets out of hand. Now, we've talked about cloud seeding because Dubai was flooded with days and days of water in a very short period of time, and this was caused, they reckon, this outset, they reckon it was caused by the seeding, cloud busting. Hey, that'll make another good title for a song, cloud busting. Oh, yeah, it'd be good that. Anyway, so he says, any time we interfere with natural precipitation patterns, we set off a chain of events that we have little control over. That's the arrogance of mankind. Interference with the weather also raises all kinds of ethical questions, as changing the weather in one country could lead to perhaps unintended yet catastrophic impacts on another. After all, the weather does not recognise international borders. Very sensible, that. And so, yeah, he reckons that weather wars could break out. That's the title of a Channel 4 series, isn't it? Weather Wars. It sounds like something that'd be on Channel 5. But yeah, this is what's happened. This is Dubai at the moment. It was yesterday. The streets are still flooded. Again, it turns out they haven't got the infrastructure, the drains and the runoffs that more temperate climates like what we have would have. So once rain falls, it's got nowhere to go, and so they end up with all this flooding, which is another problem. So yeah, this is how cloud seeding works. Plane goes off and they drop. Well, in this instance, they use salt, which causes the water to condense around the salt. They used to use silver. They used to use some sort of silver compound back in the 70s. Remember, God, it was so long ago, 50 years ago. That's how I remember it. I remember watching a program about it back in the day. But yeah, there you go. Weather wars could break out, and yeah. Good news, everybody. Dishi Rishi has come out fighting. He says work-shy Brits could lose benefits after 12 months. We really have gone back to the 1980s. But what they're targeting is people who sign off sick, who are not well. And he says that there are more than 850,000 long-term sick, more than up from before the pandemic. Now, again, some of these will be suffering from long COVID, or ME as it used to be called. Again, this is a condition that's well documented now, where the body, the immune system, kind of gets switched on continually and causes exhaustion. That's where ME used to be called Malingerous syndrome back in the day, but it's been proven that some infections, flus, in this case COVID, can have detrimental effects on the immune system, and it can have all sorts of implications. So you've got that. So people who are ill are going to be put under pressure to return to work, if they can even work, that is. And again, if you've got ME, it can be almost impossible to do that. And the funny thing is we're in this time now where mental health is often spoken about, and there will be people who go through various traumas. Maybe something bad's happened to them. Maybe their job has involved a trauma. Again, if you work for the fire brigade or the police even, or the emergency services, you're going to come across trauma every day, which is going to have an impact on your mental health. And we're throwing it all out. We live in these really contradictory times. You can, you can't. And, you know, it seems strange at this point that he's going on about this when we know they wasted all that money on relief loans over COVID, which again turned into the biggest fraud. Billions, I'm sure it was billions of pounds was claimed fraudulently, and they've got no way of getting it back. And that's without even talking about the PPE issue, where they spent money on contracts for, you know, boys, you know, guy down the pub, he knows about PPE, and this plum thinks he's going to claw back some of the cash by going after the sick. Well done, son. Do you know why? It's because he's got David Cameron whispering in his ear. And that absolute carrot, he despite having a disabled child, learnt nothing from it, and that's why I absolutely hate that. You know, hate's a strong word. I despise. That's a better word. I despise that guy in politics because he didn't learn anything from his own experiences. Because when he was PM, he said his intention was to get the disabled, 100% of the disabled, back into work. Now that's a broad church. There are some disabled people that are never going to be able to work, and this is how they view. Just they have these blinkered views on everything. You're all little boxes. You're all little pigeonholes, and not fit for purpose. Sunak's not fit for purpose. You know, Call Me Dave isn't fit for purpose. And as for Keir Starmer, oh God, I'm dreading. If we are really getting a Labour government, I'm dreading it. It's going to be fun. Hey, let's lighten the mood. Let's talk about the Spectator magazine. Now, I saw this. I saw this story breaking on Twitter yesterday, or X, because the lady involved in it actually retweeted it and said, well, you know, she was quite, well, taken aback, as so was I, so was many people. But this is the story of Lloyd Evans, who's a theatre critic. He writes for The Spectator, and well, I think we can call him a dirty old man by any other name. He's a dirty old pervert. He's a dirty perv who likes buying sex from probably illegally trafficked women. I'm going to say it. I'm just putting it there. He's a fucking dog, right? Now, you'd think as a theatre critic, you know, you'd do your little reviews, you'd hand them in, but he wrote this amazingly short-sighted, dim. I can't explain it. It's wrong on so many levels. He describes how he dipped in to a talk by Professor Lee Yippee. That's it. I hope I've said your name right, love, because it's spelt Y-P-I. Yippee. Here she is, and she was giving a pretty dusty talk about political theory, you know. So yeah, she was giving. This is in Cambridge. She's again political expert, professor of politics, giving a talk. So this guy is there, and he becomes aroused. He becomes aroused by her appearance, and focuses on her hair and that, you know, and gives him the horn. He writes the article where he describes his lunatic libido and how he's been led around by it, and you know, describes the professor's blonde hair spilling over her shoulders. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'd have been there, I'd have probably been nodding off, you know. These people just work on a completely and utterly different level. They're sex-obsessed perverts. Don't get me wrong, okey pokey, but come on, keep it in check. So anyway, he gets aroused, right? So he writes what he does. He goes to what he says the more run-down part of Cambridge. I don't know where that is, because if you've ever been to Cambridge, it's quite nice. But he goes and then pays for sex with a Chinese prostitute. to relieve himself of his lascivious libido. And so yeah, he's come back. He's hit back at his critics who've branded him horrific, crude, and appalling. Again, because when you read this copy, you go, one, if you're sitting there writing this, one, how does this read? Does this read as a good idea? No. Two, did anyone at the magazine read it? Did the sub-editors read it, or the editor read it and go, this is great. Man gets turned on at a professor's lecture, then pays sex with a Chinese prostitute. Write it up. So yeah, he's hit back. He's saying he's been branded a sex pervert. You are. By complete strangers. I probably am, and insists they should get out of the basement and get a bit of action, even if you have to pay for it. See, this is the level he's operating at. He's nothing worse than he's worse than a dog sniffing another dog's butt. That's what he is. Absolute filth. He went on to say he'd been inspired to include the professor in the article because I just find clever and articulate women very attractive, and she was physically attractive, and that made me feel a bit lonely. And then I ended up in a sauna bath, like you do. He said he was trying to expose the polar opposites of intellectual, high-flying political philosophy and a sexual encounter, adding that he found the latter much more satisfying and enjoyable. How the fuck can you draw a comparison between the two? Why didn't he just get the little man out and knock one out during the lecture and be done with it? Oh, Jesus. He added that the professor was really funny, sharp and witty, and this induced feelings of longing towards her. Wow. It's just absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Meanwhile, like I said, the professor tweeted on X. She said, advice for scholars. Next time you lecture on Kant and revolutions, Kant's the philosopher in question. I only know him from the Philosopher's Song by Monty Python. Joking, that's a joke. She said, next time you're lecturing on Kant and revolutions at Downing College, Cambridge, make sure your hair is neatly tied up and that you're not blonde, or else your research impact will be on the spectator libido section. Again, it's absolutely bonkers. And the title of the article was My Surprisingly Decent Proposal. Bonkers, absolute bonkers. But yeah, it describes how the prostitute rubbed hot wax onto his shoulders and ordered him to flip over onto his back. Yeah, I mean, it's just... yeah, it's pretty grubby and crude. But yeah, anyway, at least we know that Evans, you could say he's bisexual, because when he wants sex, he buys it. Boom! Dirty old man. There you go. So I just found it absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers that you could even write that. Meanwhile, we have tribunal news. This is Georgia Rogers. She was fired from West Grantham Church of England Primary Academy in Grantham. And she was sacked, right? Now, you think, okay, what's she been sacked for? I don't see a problem with what she's done. Yeah, she made a mistake, but sacking seems a bit extreme. Here it says she was sacked for teaching pupils as young as 9 how to do a TikTok dance, right? But yeah, the bosses at the academy found she condoned underage students using the social media site TikTok. The tribunal heard that the Lincolnshire-based primary school teacher also failed to report her pupils' use of the app, which bans children under 13, breaching the school's safeguarding procedure. So if they're using TikTok, you've got a dob a minute. The hearing was told that later on occasion, pupils asked another teacher if they could film a TikTok video, and when they were told that they couldn't, they said, well, Miss Rogers did. And she was fired after investigation into her conduct found a number of small things which put together make a bigger concerning picture. And yeah, I think this is talk about extreme. This is you don't want to send your kids there. Again, you can gently advise. Oh dear. But anyway, she sued the school for unfair dismissal and disability discrimination, claiming that she was suffering from PTSD over the incident. She probably shouldn't have put that in. Despite an employment judge saying that the investigation into the TikTok allegation was flawed, her claims were ultimately rejected. Yeah, they were thrown out. But yeah, again, it just lists a few things. Again, small things that could have been dealt with a warning, but that's her career ruined. It says E.J. Butler concluded that the school's investigation into the allegation was flawed, and as a result of the allegation itself did not result in gross misconduct. However, the tribunal found dismissing Miss Rogers in relation to other allegations was the reasonable response, and her claims were not upheld. Again, she just did some other things. Was it emailing a pupil's mother, which they said was it? They said, where was it? I've lost it. I've lost it. Yeah, she was talking to one of the students' mothers, and she said, "Bless her, I love her, send her my love," and that's deemed inappropriate. Okay, but anyway, again, it reminds me when Herb was at his junior school. They called me in one afternoon, and the guy there was a complete. And he said, do you know that your son has a YouTube channel? And I said, yeah, because I run it for him. It's my channel. It's just he uploads. He gives me the files and he uploads them. We make videos together. And that was the end of the conversation. He went, oh, and I said, well, do you want to tell him? Do you want to tell him? Because I'm not telling him that he can't have a YouTube channel because it's under my control. You know, he just thinks he has a YouTube channel. And that's how he expresses himself, because he used to make little videos on Minecraft, and if there was any he used to use it for his homework. He used to build things. They'd set out a task, and he'd used to build a house in Minecraft, and we'd make a little video and upload it, and he'd show it to the teacher, and the teacher would give him a mark because of his autism. Everyone knew about it, but again, they overstepped their margins. And they could have just spoken to me quietly off the record, but they made a thing out of it. And yeah, I wasn't very happy with him. I said, are we done here? And then I got up and walked out. I think we're done here, I said. Sorry. Just how about expensive coffee? Okay then. Let's go to Mayfair. This is Queens of Mayfair. Apparently it's the crazy price of coffee. Where is it? They've got loads of coffees, but I want to find the Queens of Mayfair. Where do they say? So I've got to read all these numbers. I've read the headline. Has been working. So where's here we go. I found it. This is Queens of Mayfair. They've got a really expensive coffee, and I can't find it on the. Here it is. And it will cost you, are you ready for this? £265 a cup. Right, this is it's called Shot in London. And it uses special beans, Topica beans. It's shipped from Japan's island of eternal youth. mind you, if you had a cup of that, I tell you, you probably would age, wouldn't you? How much? 265 quid. And yeah, of course, the Daily Mail, what they've done is they've compared it to other establishments in the area. Again, but I want the expensive coffee. Was it Rene? Was it Rene who bought the expensive tea? Rene, if you're in, expensive coffee. What else have we got? Can't do that one. Oh, this is a story, and it's a Met Police story. This was a pro-Palestinian march where Gideon Fouter, who's the CEO of Campaign Against Anti-Semitism, was pulled aside, and it reads like something from a Monty Python sketch. This is a pro-Palestinian march, and you are quite openly Jewish. Yeah, and he threatened to arrest him for creating a breach of the peace. You're creating a breach of the peace for being openly Jewish. Stop looking so Jewish. Now, don't get me wrong. Is that racist? It's like, imagine if it was one of those BNP rallies, and the Met Police saw a black person that started around, go, "Oi, you're too black. Go, move on. It's like that. You're antagonising the racists. We live in strange times, but he's lucky because it's the Met Police. I'm surprised he didn't ask to check his cock. Yeah, am I right or am I right? You know what the Met are like? They're all perverts in the Met. Perverts. Meanwhile, more anti-Semitism news. We're going to Bournemouth because everyone's gone a bit pro-Palestinian crazy. Remember Hamas? They're not your friends. They'll cut your head off. They will, because they're part of the Islamic death cult. Everybody knows that. Come on. You don't want to be on the side of Hamas, do you? You want to be like me in the middle, saying end all war. Let's be hippie, man. Let's be hippie. End all war. All war is bad, isn't it? Anyway, in Bournemouth, a sign has gone missing. Right. Here it is. Because it is twinned with Netanya in Israel. There you go. But someone, and they don't know who's done it, has removed the sign. This is on Magna Road in Bournemouth, down in Dorset, and now it's gone. Who removed it? Was it the council? Or was it someone else? It's a mystery. But yeah, it's got 4 signs at separate locations around the boundary edge, and one of them recognises Netanya, a Mediterranean resort in Israel. But they've been neatly removed from the main Welcome to Bournemouth signs, and it's triggered a police and council investigation. So the council aren't behind it. The council, not a local twinning committee, had any knowledge that the signs had been removed, leading suggestions that may be sinister. To do with the conflict in the Middle East. And here is the coastal resort that Bournemouth is twinned with. So there you go. Some nutter, some anti-Semitic nutter, has removed the signs. My goodness. Get a little bit crazier. Where are we? Let's do some crime news. This is the story of Rachel Lomax, and she is described as a student. She's doing a course at the Open University, and she was in McDonald's, right? This was at 11:40 p.m. when she jumped on McDonald's worker Sean Bannon and repeatedly battered him over the back of the head with her mobile phone. This happened when she was asked to leave, and during the assault, Mr. Bannon tried to restrain Lomax's boyfriend, Tyler Agar, only to feel banging against the back of his head multiple times before blood gushed down his forehead, and he was left with a deep 1.5-inch cut, which needed stitching. And again, here she is, heading to court. She blamed unsolved mental health issues on her violent behaviour. And this is being heard at Warrington Magistrates Court, where she faced up to 6 months in jail after she admitted assault by beating. But under sentencing guidelines, she was given 12 weeks in prison, suspended for a year, but ordered to complete 80 hours of unpaid work, 20 rehabilitation activity days, and pay Mr. Bannon £350 in compensation. And that happened on October the 1st at McDonald's in Widnes. And the lawyer said that she was full of remorse. But what she's studying, here comes the punchline, she's a criminology student. Sometimes you got to put the crime into criminology, and Rachel Lomax certainly did. Again, I think she should go to prison. And anyone who attacks shop staff or emergency service workers, send them to prison. But not enough prisons. So what you do, you get the prisoners to build the prisons. It's really easy. It sustains itself, doesn't it? It sustains itself. And then, if the prisoners would be good, you let them be prison guards, and then it just looks after itself. Don't have to pay them anything. Hey. There's so many other good ones here. Animal story. When I went a bit like a monkey then. Did you hear that? Here's a question. Could you be allergic to your own orgasm? I think that's what I'm suffering from at the moment. Men can be allergic to their own orgasms. This is why I feel like I've got a runny nose all the time. I'm putting it down to hay fever. I think I'm just orgasmic. I think I'm in a state of just in orgasmic energy. French researchers studied an extremely rare post-orgasmic illness syndrome, POIS, claiming it can manifest itself as 7 different types of symptoms. Some may be struck down with headaches. Mrs. looking at me, she's going, burning eyes or a runny nose. That's what I got. And it can last for minutes or even hours after ejaculation. Some find that they suffer from sore throat, fever, muscle weakness, and fatigue. Or you know it's good because you go a bit weak at the knees, don't you? You go a bit, and you need that cup of tea with a biscuit. I should get a teas made. But yeah, the symptoms can be triggered by intercourse, masturbation, or even after a spontaneous nocturnal ejaculation, say researchers. But more extreme symptoms can include palpitations or incoherent speech. Like now, I must have knocked one out before I came on. This is the experts at the Hospital Centre de Cotteville on the outskirts of Gay Paris. This was written in a French medical journal. The condition was first reported in 2002, and experts have only examined 60 cases in the last 2 decades. Thousands of more men could be affected because it's likely many do not seek medical attention because you probably don't really think about it. But they've been baffled as to what causes these symptoms. That it could be a result from an allergic or autoimmune response to the sufferer's own sperm. What, you get it up your own nose or in your eyes and you swallow it? What? That doesn't sound right. This was in Progrès en Urologie. It's got the words post-coitum flu in the title of it. There you go. That's what they call it, post-coitum flu. And there's no cure. There's There's no cure for it, everyone. But yeah, they've got a list of the symptoms here. You got general, extreme fatigue, exhaustion, palpitations, incoherent speech, difficulty concentrating. I get that before sex. Flu-like, fever, chills, generally feeling unwell. Again, thinking about it makes me feel a little bit queasy. At my age, what with my feet? Neurological head, you get headaches, brain fog, eyes burning, bloodshot, blurred vision, watery, itchy. Nasal congestion, runny nose, sneezing, laryngeal, dry mouth, sore throat, hoarse voice. No more! You've sucked me dry! And muscle tension in the back or neck, muscle weakness or stiffness, sore muscles, and heavy legs. So there you go. Do you suffer from that? If you do, try and pull yourself together and leave a comment in the comment box below. I know you're weak. I know you're feeling weak because of all that masturbation you've been doing, because you've been on the internet. I feel like I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel there. What else have we got? I don't think, is there anything else? Probably not. I feel like I've scraped the bottom of the barrel. I really do. Here you go. Morbid obesity. This is the NHS in Somerset, which is there's a service there called Splash, which offers under fours and their families access to dietary and psychological support. So it's for fat kids. But yeah, they reckon their youngest patient is 8 months old. Yeah, Dr. Chris Knight, clinical director of paediatrics, says 8 months is unusual, but at that kind of age, we really make progress about how they're feeding those children at such an early age. And there's a really good opportunity to turn them around. So morbidly obese, 8 months old. Can you believe that? The majority of our cases are between the ages of 2 and 4, but about 15% are under 2. Excuse me? What? What the hell are you feeding them? And yeah, so baby obesity is now a thing. Well done, everyone. Well done. How did you manage that? Fuck me. Mind you, you've got to remember, there is an upside. There's always a silver lining, you know, right? Because, well, again, it's a two-edged sword, right? Because if your kids are morbidly obese, pedos don't find them attractive. But on the other hand, they can't run away from them either because they get out of breath. You know, so 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Isn't it? But don't be morbidly obese because you could end up like me. Nobody wants to end up like me. I don't even want to end up like me. There you go. What else have we got? These are not good. I think I'll just do the animal story. Wow, here's a bit of public art for you. This is amazing stuff. 1,475 statues have filled the landscape beside a D-Day memorial overlooking France's Golden Beach in honour of each of the servicemen who fell during a historic mission. The standing with giant silhouettes are part of the Fillon-Tomar installation at the British Normandy Memorial in Vers-sur-Mer in France. And you've got to see, again, the scale of it. Look at that. Now that's some public art for you, isn't it? And it's even more at ground level. Wow, public art. Astounding. What an amazing piece of work. So what we'll do is we're going to Australia. And this is something that went viral in Australia last month, but there's an advert. This is a 25-second clip and they've put an advert on it. Now I wonder what kind of animal we'll see in Australia. Can you figure it out yet? Are you ready? Yeah, it's a little kangaroo. Yeah, look. Ah, Look at that. He's holding the kangaroo's hand. Isn't that nice? Or paw. Do kangaroos have hands? I don't think they do. I think they have paws. But yeah, he's from the Royal Flying Doctor Service. Who remembers flying doctors? So yeah, he made a little kangaroo chum. But yeah, the pilot in the video explained what was going on. So Mick Young, who's a pilot with the Royal Flying Doctor Service, he's been working with them for 5 years, befriended the young female kangaroo at Port Augusta, which is northwest of Adelaide. The marsupial walked up to Mr. Young and his colleague Dave Rose, who were in town to attend a function. He said, we weren't sure what was going on. Sure, maybe it needs a drink, so I gave it some water and gave it a drink. But they realised that there was more to it, and that the kangaroo was lonely. Mr. Young said it really just wanted some human interaction. We started to question whether this is a wild kangaroo or an orphan raised by humans, or one that's got away. And it walked quietly up to Dave and put his head on his right shoulder and his paw on his left shoulder. And yeah, in Australia, that footage went viral. And Mr. Young added, it was a nice moment. So there you go, and that's where we'll leave it there. Didn't do too bad today. I thought it wasn't too bad. Didn't think it was too bad today. 4 people in. Oh well, nobody can be bothered. It's Friday. It's Friday. I'm waiting for the DHL man to come. New guitar day. Well, new old guitar day. Bit of a peculiarity. I'm looking forward to see it. Payne says clearly not enough to see. The titles indeed. He says good afternoon, and good afternoon to you too. Payne says can't cloud see where there's no moisture in the air. Indeed. Yeah, so you've been reading up on it. You've been on the old Wikipedia, Wikipedia, and he adds, if a person can't get a job or nobody wants to employ them for various reasons, or they physically can't manage it, it's not their fault, is it? Exactly. Take me for example. Due to my physical ugliness, I can't face the public. People will throw up. They'll be poking themselves in the eyes. They'll be blinding themselves. If I was, imagine me being on the door of a supermarket. They'd go under, wouldn't they? Go under in a week. Andrew says, hi Darren, I'm in. Good to know if you're in, isn't it? Andrew says, I always fancied doing sculpture. Okay. And he adds, it's Skippy, indeed. Skippy, 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 the bush kangaroo. And imagine if they cross Skippy with Flipper. I just know. I suppose it'd be Skipper then, wouldn't it? Now you're either going to get a kangaroo that drowns, or yeah, it doesn't work. I don't know. I was just brain farting away there. It's the weekend. Go and have some fun. Go and get laid, as that man from The Spectator said, even if you have to pay for it. I hear there are some very reasonable Chinese prostitutes in Cambridge. What the fuck? Oh, it's how the other half lives, isn't it? It's how the middle classes live. But anyway, thank you for watching. That was the news. Killing the channel, one video at a time. And hopefully you've enjoyed it. That's it. Have a good weekend. I'm going to be off. There's only one more thing to say, and that is drink it up.